The morn of gladness, we love. Just with the light, us in the feeling. All we need to, yes, you do. Feel us.
Feeling.
Fill us with the light. Oh, that was off.
Fill us with the light of day.
Yeah.
Light of day. Oh no.
Joyful, Lord,
Oh
we
no!
adore thee. And in my
Oh
life,
no!
I see none before thee.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Carter.
That is not what I want to represent me.
You know what? You know what I'm trying to think of, Tim? Every time I say ladies and gentlemen, I am so trained to say ladies and gentlemen from like karaoke and presenting over the years. And every time I say it, I automatically think, nope. I got like that's not as inclusive as I want to be.
Yeah, you should say folks or
folks, everybody, hello.
You'd be like, hola chica. That's even bad.
I can't roll with hola chica.
You should say girls, gays, theys, thems, and the thembos and the himbos and the shimbos and to you all.
To you all. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
To everybody of every spectrum. Hello. This is Cub and Chub.
Hello, Cub and Chubbers. Hello.
Oh, my little cubbies and chubbies. I love you.
Chubbies. We are recording a little late this week.
Very.
We apologize. We've just been on a different schedule. You know, like we want to be.
I don't know if I apologize. I
will not apologize for Tim. I will say we've been trying to stick to a schedule in the last couple weeks that just has not worked for us.
We've had moments happening in our lives as everyone does.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the girls, gays, and days, y'all understand, right? Like y'all are very caring and loving, and the whole reason that we do this podcast is because we love to talk to y'all, and I know that y'all don't want us to be at a space where we're just doing it for nothing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just feel like when the time presents itself, we will give you us. And I think that you appreciate that, right?
I'm projecting. I like to pretend that I'm in more control and more organized than I am at times. So when do you know what I mean? Like I'm pretending like we're disappointing all of the fans, and it's mostly me going like, damn it, like I want to stay like consistent and then when things go off, it's like I'm not in control, but it's also like life happens, so just back up,
life is always happening, and also like energy is very important for a podcast.
I'm so sorry. The partner is at the grocery store and he's blowing me up.
See, life is happening all around.
Ladies and gentlemen, give us 1 second. We'll be right back.
Hey, bet you don't miss us.
Sorry, we need new creamer for the coffee, and sometimes I get my own, and sometimes he has his own, but sometimes we have the same. Questions were asked. We had to make sure we're covered. So
domesticates.
Tim, how's your week going?
My week is weeking. It is. Yeah, it's very much in like it is a week and it's been had, and it could have been a lot better, could have been worse.
Sure.
So I'm happy. There are things in my life that are happening. I'm leaving this place soon.
Woo!
Yes. And for some reason it's become bearable now. Like I don't I don't understand. I don't understand the powers that be. And I think that it's more a lesson for me that if I learn how to control my outbursts, then maybe I will be able to have more of a consistent life on on like the straight line spectrum of things. Like it's not, I'm so used to my life going up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. Until maybe I'm not paying attention to the patterns that I am
Mm.
helping aid that sort of life. But then again, what's life if it's not going up and down and up and down? It's pretty boring. So
I concede that yes, you do have your life has had ebbs and flows of extremity, right?
yeah,
But the place you're in right now, it ain't got no black people.
it doesn't.
Do
It
you know what I
doesn't
mean? And
have. It
that
doesn't. Not only black people. It's not like I'm not saying like. Listen, I love black. I love all of my black people, and I really love being surrounded by them. But it also doesn't have other cultures either.
it's pasty as hell.
Yeah, it's a difference. It's a difference in like if it just was multicultural, but it just didn't include,
It,
lots of it just
sure,
it's just very
it's giving mayonnaise and
it's it's giving I wish Trump had won.
yeah.
Like,
Mm.
and I mean I went to this other town because I had some business there, and I saw three waving in the wind uh Confederate flags.
Mm.
And I was like, what's your excuse? Like, it's not, this ain't even your culture. Like, it would be if it was like Georgia or something like that.
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, well, that's the South. This is not the South. And it's
Yeah,
giving like, I don't understand the reasoning other than you just hate like change.
yeah,
And if you hate change, then I feel really sorry for you. And it's giving like you have children who probably will do some things in America that's going to be a little catastrophic. So that's what it feels like
hmm,
when I see that sort of like rhetoric in places that it doesn't make sense. There's a lot of anger. And if anger is within you, then anger is what you teach. And sometimes that anger can manifest its ways in ways that are scary.
yeah,
Just the same as I guess they're scared of what we're manifesting into people,
yeah,
which is be yourself and do what you want to do as long as it doesn't harm people.
yeah.
Yes. Anyway, we're not a political podcast.
It
How was your week there?
was Al's birthday.
Oh,
We had a
happy
good time.
birthday.
We got a group of friends together, went out to dinner,
Cute.
and yeah, um, it's very interesting. It was like 11 gaggles of gays and bis and queerity all over. And then our friend Rita. it was like
Who is an ally, part of the
who she
LGBTQIAA?
is.
Like,
That's right. Miss Rita is an ally indeed. Um,
yes.
so yeah, it was a lot of fun, and everybody. I think a lot of queer people out there can probably understand that cliques of gays in cities and groups and everything, and that can get awkward, especially if people know each other or don't know each other or maybe kind of know each other. So there was
Yeah.
a little bit of that, like we've never brought all these people together before,
Mhm.
and yeah, it went really well. So we had a really good
Kudos to y'all,
time.
because I do not be bringing my friends together.
You do not. You like
I like having separate birthdays.
separate. You keep your food separated, right? It's like you can't
Yeah.
cross them over. Like they're in their own area.
I like bento boxes. I do.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Don't touch my sushi.
I just, it's something sad. Like, I like having my dinner is with some people, and I like having my drinks with other people, and I like
Yeah.
having, I bring out different sides of my personality with different people.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fair.
And so that that can be a lot. If I was to bring everybody together, it would be a lot of energy.
It can be. It can be. Luckily, a lot of these were part of his kind of gamer network, the
Mhm.
tabletop D&D or that kind of crew. So, um,
Shout out to them.
yeah, we had a really good time. So,
Hey,
dinner with gays and yeah, happy birthday to Al. Mwah.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Sing.
No, we're gonna stop that. So
Not the Stevie Wonder
I
version.
went to go do the clap and do the side to side. I'm like, nope, 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 nope. We're not that
Ooh,
podcast.
we're editing this part out.
No. Tim, I listened to the podcast last week and I totally forgot to edit a part out. Did you check that?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I don't I usually I try to like whenever I edit, I listen to it once
Yeah.
to like make sure I catch everything. Clearly, I fast forwarded too far after an edit because it definitely went at 3, 2.
Yes, you did.
So and I was like, oh, I could go through and take it down. I was like, I don't want to. It's too much.
It's a couple. So like, there's always like. So I listen to the podcast 3 different times.
Uh-huh.
So I listen to it on Spotify. I listen to it on Apple Music Podcast, and I also listen to it on
YouTube.
YouTube because
Yeah.
I want to see us. I want to see, if I've looked some type of freaky way, um, or misconstrued something in my face that shouldn't have been done. So I am always looking at it, and there are rare occasions where I'm like, oh, I didn't know we were just gonna leave that in. And I'm just like, all right, well, it is what it is. The public needs to know. Like,
This is how the sausage gets made.
I mean,
Or the
the
tofu
sausage
scramble.
gravy, the tofu needs to have, the fennel and rosemary. It needs to have all of that in there to make it taste good. And sometimes my little spicy things, your little spicy things, get you know found in the sauce, and it tastes so good.
So Tim,
Hi,
our topic this week is podcasts.
it is.
You and I love listening to podcasts, and this is a podcast. So we thought, why don't we talk a little bit about our favorite podcasts and just kind of have a good time with it? So
I mean, I don't see any other reason why we cannot. We are podcast aficionados at this point.
that's
So
right. We're very professional. We're very
yes,
professional.
and you are the Linda Evangelista of our podcast. You are
Oh
the
my!
editor in chief
Oh,
and producer and talent and our cub. So
well, you are the Michelle Visage. So thank you very much. I really
well,
appreciate
thank you, Rue.
that. Tim, before we get into it, you got something you want to say?
Hi, it's Tim
And I'm Bear, and this is Cub.
and Chubb.
Yay!
We're in our winter era.
Welcome back, everybody.
Hi.
Cub and Chub. Cub and Chub.
We be that Cub and
And
Chubb.
Chub. Cub and Chub.
Uh,
So, Tim, we're talking about podcasts this week. Do
We
you
are.
remember the first podcast that you listened to?
So honestly, I can't remember the very first podcast, but I can remember the podcast that really like made me want to continue to listen to podcasts.
Okay.
And that would be The Read.
The Read.
The Read, yes. It is part of the Loudspeakers Network,
Mhm.
and it has two Black queer people. It has Kid Fury and Crystal. The reason why I remember going to listen to it is because Kid Fury used to be on YouTube.
Hmm.
Um, and shout out to things that Black gays say, and Furious Thoughts. And
Furious thoughts.
it he was just like on that salmon wall talking about I'm gonna have this podcast, and I was like, let me go see what he talking about. And it's been 10 years and I've been listening to it.
They're about to go on tour.
I know, and
I
I'm so mad that I can't go.
I really want to go to Atlanta and see them.
Child, I really want, and with that haircut, you would do very well.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you. This is why you should be watching the video podcast on YouTube, everybody. At
yes.
Coventry. Um, yeah, so I will say the read is unapologetically Black and queer. And it is not they do that show because they want to, and it's for a very specific demographic,
It
and
is.
it's amazing. And I
And
love
you either
listening.
can get with it or you can't. Like,
You either get on that wavelength, or it is not for everybody, and that is totally fine.
yeah.
But I fucking love the read. And it's been an emotional roller coaster since I hopped on, you know.
You hopped in like it may be like year 6 or
Actually,
so.
I came in on the back end of year 3 because we went and saw the 4th year anniversary.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, that's the show.
Oh,
yeah. I came in
yeah.
2016 with the Beyonce Lemonade episode.
Oh, okay.
And then we
Oh
caught
my
them on
God.
that anniversary. Yeah.
All of these years just keep like blending together.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's something about that podcast that feels authentic and validating.
Yeah.
And it keeps changing and growing along with those two. And
Yeah.
you would the things that they talk about sometimes aren't necessarily the most accessible
Sure.
times now, but it still feels fresh and noteworthy. So
yeah, agreed. Yeah.
But what was your first podcast that you ever listened to?
So, again, big geek over here, big geek energy. I, at one point in my life, was a diehard Harry Potter fan. Diehard. And there was a moment between 2005 when the 6th book came out and the last book in 2007 came out, where I caught up with the books, and now I'm like waiting for it, right? And there was a very popular website called MuggleCast. So mugglecast.net was a very popular Harry Potter fan site. And in 2005, they started their podcast. So I had my big white iPod, the big block one with the black and white screen, and I download the podcast onto my laptop and then put it on my iPod, and then I'd walk to class and I would listen to 2 to 3 hour shows of these 4 people like geeking out on Harry Potter theories and rereading the books chapter by chapter. And that was like my foray into podcasts, because it was like podcasts just kind of sounds like radio.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like a replacement for talk radio.
I was gonna say that. I was like, I think this is our generation's version of talk radio.
Yeah. I mean, when I was growing up, my dad would listen to music, but he would also put on NPR and listen to like whatever's happening during the day, the news, whatever. But I remember like when you're waiting to hear something you're interested in, you listen to a lot of stuff maybe you don't care about, right?
Yeah.
So the ecom show or whatever before you get to the entertainment one, and that's where I think like podcasts really come into play, because you can find your niche.
Yeah, I think just like most things, millennials don't like a lot of middle bullshit. Like we don't want to deal with putting our resume in and then you asking us all the shit that's on the resume.
Right.
We want to get to the meat, and I think podcasts are the meat.
Yeah.
Of what you want. Like it's like I want to hear about pop culture. I want to hear about Harry Potter. I want to hear about stocks and bonds and stuff. I want to hear about, uh people's cocktails.
Right.
Like it gives you that without having to deal with all the other like morning show bullshit that you don't want to hear.
Do you want 5 different shows about a rewatch of Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Yes, I do, and
Yeah.
I can get everything I want very specifically. And so they've really like filled that void. And I've been telling you the last few years, like I'm listening to more podcasts than music at this point because
Yeah.
I subscribe to so many and they're weekly or sometimes
Mhm.
bi-weekly. Sibling Rivalry, how's it going?
Yes.
Um,
Just want a queerty.
oh yes, they did. Bob's
Shout out to
consistency.
y'all.
Good job, Bob and Monet.
We're next.
That's
Uh,
right. We're coming for you. But yeah, they fill this niche of like specific things that you're interested in and being able to have it at your fingertips. It's just
Mhm.
yeah. So but yeah, so MuggleCast was my first podcast. And then I think a Game of Thrones one was the next one I got into.
Yeah.
Similarly, watching the show and they did a reread of the books.
It really helps because I think like you do a lot of things for the pop culture aspect and you dive in. When you
Right.
get to something, you dive in. And so like something like a podcast really appeals to you
Hmm.
and people who dive into like a specific subject.
Right.
Um and so I think that like I too am listening to more podcasts than even music. I even listen to podcasts about music. So,
Right. Yeah.
just because I know I'm not listening and I'm not getting the ear that I used to have for new music.
Yeah.
So like I need podcasts that are out there talking about, oh, if you don't listen to no other R&B, you need to listen to these girls. Or
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? Thanks, girl. I didn't know who Bronze Avery was.
And now I do.
And now I do, and I love him. But yeah, it's like it's just so cool. Podcasts are amazing.
So what are some podcasts that like are in your regular rotation? What's something you're listening to pretty regularly?
So we talked about the read.
The read.
But within the read there are a few podcasts and we call them the Super Friends podcast. And that's Jaden XD, The Friend Zone, Getting Grown.
Hmm.
Those are they're all friends of one another. They all go on each other's podcasts and do different things. And it's just a lovely weekly dose of blackness that I just adore.
Yeah.
I also listen to this podcast that has one of the co-hosts from the Friend Zone on it called Holding Court. And
Hmm.
that is a podcast that kind of talks about the legalities of things as it
Mm.
pertains to like pop culture things. So
Okay.
they covered what was going on with Megan the Stallion and a lot of like divorce things. They cover that as far as how it pertains to the law, and that's kind of cool. Um, I listen to us, Cub and Chub,
Cup and Chub,
every
plug,
week.
plug. That's right.
Plug, plug, plug. I listen to Shits and Gigs.
Oh, what's that?
It's like these two British black guys who are
Hmm.
so hot, and I want them to both top me.
I wonder if they popped up on my TikTok. I
They
wonder if
they
I.
probably have.
Yeah.
They are they're just so freaking funny and they
Yeah.
laugh at one another in a way that makes you laugh. And they also they cover different so they'll post a topic on their website or on their Twitter or something.
Hmm.
And then people they'll say something like when did you realize your relationship was over? And people will write in super funny things like when she cheated on me with a fish or something like, or when I went to the doctor and they were like you got chlamydia for the 15th time,
Right.
like so like it'll be funny stuff like that and they'll just be like cracking up laughing. Not to mention both of them are very cute. Foohead, if you Want
Oh,
Me, You Can Have Me.
oh,
Um, these are both straight men. I am very aware. Um, but I listen to them.
you sound like Kid Fury professing his love for Jonathan Majors. Have you been?
And I am not that girl. I don't
uh,
profess my love to people who are not interested in my color or
mm-hmm.
gender generally. But Fuhead is so cute. I'm so
Mm.
sorry. Like it's so hard not to just be like hard for him. Anyway, anyway,
Woo!
but
But
um
anything else you're listening to?
I listen to a lot. I
Mm-hmm.
listen to a lot. And those are just the ones that I listen to regularly. I also listen to LeVar Burton Reads.
Oh yeah,
The podcast. Oh, it's so good. So
nice.
good. He is the dude from Reading Rainbow. And what better way for him to have a podcast than to him read short stories that he
That's
just
right.
likes? And his voice is so alluring. It's so good.
Yeah,
Um, I also listen to Baby as Kiki Palmer. Uh
nice.
yeah, because Kiki Palmer is funny as hell.
Yeah, she's good.
Like just her being her is funny.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like what are some that you listen to?
So the read is still in my rotation.
Yeah.
So the read definitely. Let's see here. Sibling rivalry.
Mm.
So we listen to Baba
Yes.
Monet twice a week.
Yes.
And
We need more Bob. We need more Monet.
we do. I gotta say, like, you tried to get me into them a couple years ago,
Yeah.
and I didn't know their dynamic then, and so it just sounded like these. Are they friends? They sound like they don't like each other. I didn't
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
shtick.
Yeah.
But now
They're
having,
sisters. Yeah.
yeah, now going through some of the drag history,
Mhm.
I have a bigger appreciation. And so I literally I wake up on Mondays and Wednesdays, and it's the first thing I do.
Yeah.
I wake up and my email says, because I'm also on their Patreon, so it's like the video is posted. I'm like, I can wake up today. There's a reason.
Can I just say that I love to like put you onto things because I know that they're gonna get like a stand.
I yes. And sometimes it's a boomerang, right? It's like you put
It
it out
is.
there, and I don't get on it. Like you did the same thing with the read.
Yeah, yeah,
You told me about the read, and I wasn't there yet. And then like a
yeah.
little bit later, that boomerang came right back around. And I was like, nope, I'm
It's
here.
because I'm a pioneer of things.
I'm a trend setter.
Yeah, like
Um,
I'm an influencer.
that's oh my god. So sibling rivalry. And I also do like the Bald and the Beautiful. That's hit and miss for me.
And
Um,
so
it depends on if Katya's in a good mood or not.
it's one of those like that's actually I was gonna talk about that one because it's actually a podcast that I was kind of let down about
Oh,
because I love watching what is it called on
yeah,
and I love watching them
yeah.
but the podcast itself it doesn't appeal to me in that same way and I don't know if it's because there's a production quality that needs to be behind them for things.
I think their relationship. Oh, how do I say this? I think because they get produced on
Yeah.
and because I don't think that they would naturally be friends outside
Mm.
of the business venture they're doing. They're
Mm.
very different people.
Mm.
Um,
Okay.
and so I think what happened is that unhappened and these other like business things happened that brought them together that now there's a friendship, but it got built off of that.
Um,
So, and Bald and Beautiful is relatively new. Like it was supposed to be like a makeup podcast, and
yeah.
then it kind of turned into something else, which is what they're doing now. But I think what you hear in that, and I think they've gotten better at it, but I think what you're hearing is them trying to do what we're doing. You and
Yeah.
I can just shoot the shit forever, and we're just recording it.
Yeah.
They are so different people. Trixie is
Mhm.
such a ass
Type
kissing
A.
business type A like schmoozer
Yeah.
name dropper, and I'm saying this and that sounds mean, but it's who she is, right?
No, like it, I mean,
That's what she
there's a
does.
reason why she's worth $10 million.
Right. And she loves it and she leans into it.
Mhm.
Katya is so cerebral and
Yeah.
has no interest in business and no interest in ass kissing and would stay home and sew her gowns and not be bothered again.
Yeah. And
and
she loves Black people. I appreciate her.
Katya is just one of my favorites. But when they come together and there's and that weird energy happens, it's great. But when you feel them trying to pull each other along, like Trixie's like, here's a topic, and Katya's like, "Meh, I'm batshit crazy, and you can't
Yeah.
keep me on topic." It's like it can be a drag.
Yeah.
um, but
Not Queen though.
but but I do still check it out. I do love them. Um, okay, Heavyweight. I haven't talked to you about this one. So it's on Gimlet Media, and they're one of these big kind of podcast conglomerate kind of media companies. But it's called Heavyweight, and the guy that runs it, it's basically every episode.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, every episode, Jonathan, who is like a newspaper writer or a column writer, um, he finds a story and helps somebody work through that story. So, for example, like there was an episode about a guy who wanted to find a picture that was taken of him and his wife on their first date when
Mm.
they were visiting Israel.
Okay.
And the connection there was also like he had to reconnect with his dad to make it happen. So there's usually like heavyweight. There's usually some kind of like heavy story behind what he's trying to solve
Yeah.
for them. But it's always like it's an uplifting thing.
Okay.
So it's people trying to work through these questions, or like somebody a high school teacher that really helped me during a hard time, and
Mhm.
I've never been able to find them. Can you help me find my high school teacher?
Oh, it's giving Jenny Jones.
It's so uplifting, and I'm like I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Like it's
Yeah.
so beautiful. The one episode I'm sorry, I'm gonna geek out. The one episode I just listened to was talking about this high school football player whose mother passed suddenly, and he was in the hallway at his high school, and his football coach came out and just hugged him
Yeah.
and just held him with no
Oh.
prompt. And shortly thereafter, the high school coach got transferred to another school. He got another job, and so this kid spent the next 20 years like this hug from another man made him a hugger, and taught him the comfort and physical and being more open about being
Yeah.
straight, but wanting to be, and saying I love you and all these
Yeah.
other kind of things. So like the episode is about them finding this high school coach, and the coach was like, they were worried the coach wouldn't remember it. It was like one of a million interactions with kids.
That
And
would've
the coach was like, I actually really remember that incident because I lost my mother in high school, and when I heard it happen to you, I like ran to you. Uh, just
Aw.
just so beautiful. So anyway,
Weeping.
it's that kind of thing. So and it's one of those. So anyway, check it out. Heavyweight, very worth it.
It sounds like a podcast that I used to listen to that I don't remember what it was called,
mhm,
but this lady went into this lower income like families school,
mhm,
and she so I want to say that the graduation level was, or the graduation percentage was very, very low.
yeah,
And so her podcast was about like following maybe maybe four or five of the students that came in from freshman year, and
mhm,
following them to graduation and seeing what that was like for them.
yeah,
And like this was maybe in 2016, 17. I was literally at work weeping
yeah,
because these kids would be talking about how they had two jobs, and then they would come to school and they fell asleep, and the teacher would like cuss them out for being asleep.
yeah.
And like it was oh my God, like it was a thing. And then they find like most of them, all but one of them graduated. It was a thing. It was
Aw,
something, it was like I followed these people through high school.
yeah.
It was so good.
Oh,
Shout out to that one. I don't know what it was called. I think that was the first podcast I had listened to on Spotify.
hmm.
Yeah.
Spotify, where we are, I have a sponsorship. If you listen, now what's funny, Tim, is I didn't hear it on Spotify, but if you listen to Apple Podcasts,
Yes.
I did a little promo because we got a sponsorship to sponsor Spotify podcast. So
Thank you, sponsorships by Spotify.
thank you, appreciate it. And then a quick shout out to Nicole Byer. Nicole Byer has 3 active podcasts that I listen to
Does
religiously.
she's like mother of podcast over here.
Her and mother of podcasts. That's pretty good. Our Best Friends is just amazing. Absolutely love it. Why Won't You Date Me? Which is
Which I have heard, and there's a TikTok on, like, it's on TikTok that
uh,
Robin Fierce is doing like one of the
yeah.
monologues.
Uh,
And I'm like, wow, way to
so
make
good.
Nicole Byers seem basic. But like
Nice. And then she also has a third one. It's about what is that one called? I forgot to write it down. Her and her co-host watch franchise movies.
okay.
Like, so they'll watch all of the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah.
And it's just them going, "Oh, this is the worst thing we've ever had it done." So they just
I would
hit.
so that's one of the podcasts I would like to create, is like
Yeah.
a podcast where I watch whiteness and the things that like have been um delegated as, must see TV,
Yeah.
and just be like,
This is
so this was bullshit.
this was the worst thing we've ever had to do.
And where are the blacks? Like,
Oh, shout out to Sashir. She her co-host of Best Friends. She is currently filming a new Marvel TV show down in Atlanta.
ooh,
Yeah. So Sashir's
where
out
all
there.
of Marvel lies.
That's right. Right next to Mr. Oh, what's his name?
Tyler Perry.
Mr. Tyler Perry Studios. I think he actually lets them use some of his studio
Yeah,
space.
I mean, he had like literally. I hope you are using Cicely Tyson's theater.
Oh,
So,
Cicely Tyson.
or Hattie McDaniels, either one. I don't know.
Sam, I think we got to take a break.
We do. Bye. Hi, we're back.
We're back from our break.
So, Bear, I was
Mhm.
wondering, we listen to a lot of podcasts. Are there any themes between the podcasts that you listen to? Like, are there like clusters of a type of podcast?
Yeah, so I mean, I was looking through my list of podcasts prepping for the episode, and there are definitely themes. Like I see like where my head was in certain periods in time when I
Mhm.
signed up for certain things. So like I've got a cluster of like Harry Potter, Marvel movies, like cinema entertainment things.
Yeah.
Like there's that group of like geek based podcasts that I signed up at like the same time. And there are other things, like there are TV follow along podcasts. So when the Watchmen TV show came out, I'm on that podcast stream. When the new Game of Thrones came out, same thing. So I listened to like the official podcast, RuPaul's Drag Race, Squirrel Friends, hello.
Hi.
Hello, Lonnie Love. Mwah.
Ugh, sister.
Love you, Lonnie. So like there's the geek podcast, right?
Mhm.
And then I don't like admitting that I'm one of these true crime bitches. I don't like it. I don't it's not
I am so surprised that you didn't say anything about it. I was like, it's very odd that like between the two of us, neither one of us are the true crime people.
I and honestly, up until the podcast segment, I wouldn't say that I was.
Mhm.
Like if Unsolved Mysteries was on and I'm scrolling through it, I might stop on it and watch an episode, but I'm not like seeking out that kind of content.
Yeah.
And then last year, I was going through Spotify better sponsor this episode. We was going through Spotify's top 10 like podcasts or whatever,
Mhm.
trying to get some inspiration. I kind of ran out of stuff to listen to, and there's one called it's called Crime Junkies. That's what it's called.
Yes.
Crime Junkies. They're a top 10 podcast on Spotify, and I started listening to them and immediately got hooked.
Yeah.
Because although I don't like the idea of true crime or like trying to solve it and become like a detective, like that part of it doesn't appeal to me. But I do love a whodunit. I will watch a whodunit movie. I will read a whodunit book.
Okay.
And there's an element to the true crime things when they're telling you the story, like laying it out in story format,
Yeah.
that appeals to that, like, was it the dad? Was it the jilted boyfriend?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I do like that, and I think that's where my hook is. Um, so I have a couple things that are a little like true crimey or like story based
Yeah.
in that area, which again, not my favorite color I wear, but I do have to wear it at times. Um, and then the weirdest one is my addiction to the Ringer podcast network.
Mm.
So the Ringer is a website that mostly caters to sports, but they
Mm.
also do pop culture.
Okay.
So if you want to read somebody's like 10,000 word essay on last night's NBA game, it's a blog for that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Then they also write up about album reviews and TV and that's like,
Oh, okay.
and a lot of my geek podcasts are based off of the Ringer network.
Mm-hmm.
Binge Mode, shout out to Binge Mode. They're no longer together. I don't want to talk about it, but they have a lot of that stuff. But there's like movie podcast. The amount of time I've spent listening to people talk about movies that I've never seen,
Yeah.
never plan on seeing, mostly because they saw it and they're like, "Yeah, that's fine." I'm like, "Sweet, I don't have to see it."
Listen, the
I don't have to do
amount of
anything.
shows that Jade and XD have covered, and I'm just like, I don't know nothing about this, and have watched it and been like, I don't want to watch this, but I want to hear you talk about it.
Yeah. I love when people can talk about a subject that I don't care about and I'm into it. The Bitch Sesh, the Real Housewives podcast.
Oh yeah.
Tim, I've watched maybe whatever we watched together when we lived together. That's how much Real Housewives I've watched in my life.
Sacrilege.
I don't seek it out. I just on my own I don't care about it. I liked watching it with you because it was something for us to like,
Yeah,
chit chat about. But
I get it. It's the same way I feel about Game of Thrones.
right, it's something to spend time together with, but otherwise I'm good. But I have listened to every single episode of Bitch Sesh by these two comedians, Casey Wilson and I forget the other girl's name. I'm so sorry, but Casey Wilson played Penny Hart on my
Best
favorite Happy Endings.
Happy Endings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Penny, yeah.
Amazing. Yes.
Amazing. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
one of the comedians on there. And they go over every episode of Housewives and like Sister Wives, like all like they'll do that sometimes.
Yeah.
And them just shooting the shit about these I'm just laughing hysterically.
Like I don't want to watch 90 Day Fiance or like The Other Way or the Gideon or the Lockdown, the Lock Up, and all this other stuff. I don't care about these people. They're not interesting to me. But when these people talk about it,
yeah,
it's so much. Like it's so animated, and like they go into like a deep like sense of self with it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I have to listen to you talk about this. I want it.
I couldn't pick Erica Jane out of a lineup. I don't know nothing about her.
I could.
But I know every single nook and cranny
How
of
many
that case.
do I get?
But could I tell you every moment of what was happening on the show when that case broke and they did emergency podcasts when that stuff happened? Like, oh my God. So much good content.
It's such good.
Highly
Erica
entertaining.
Jane, I love you. Anyway, this is not about reality TV.
What about you? Any themes when you kind of look at your podcasts?
So I like you. I actually don't listen to any true crime podcasts or anything like that. But I did listen to Dateline while I was working at this particular place.
Mm-hmm.
There was this group of women who just was obsessed with true crime. And it was more of listening to them react to the Dateline podcast that was so interesting to me.
Yep.
They would be like, oh, we know it's such and such. Oh, you know that. So like, they don't do this, they don't do that. And it was just such a fun like moment in my life to hear. But so I have to like shout out Dateline for
so like you are listening to the Dateline podcast to know what these bitches are talking about at work?
No, I would be listening to it with them, and they would be going in the middle of it, and I'm sitting there like getting my life to like their like responses. So it's the same thing with like I didn't watch Bel Air at first, and they kind of like they kind of made me watch Bel Air because I swear they could have their own podcast. And shout out to them. They know who they are. They probably do not listen to this.
By the way, when I say those bitches, I mean that lovingly, not pejoratively. Thank you. Just want to put that
Yes. Oh no, no. Women are not bitches, but they can be friendly in a
That's
friend
right.
way. But yeah, I find that most of my podcasts that I listen to on the regular fall under the scope of Black women.
Mm.
Like, it's not like it's all different types and takes of the lives and the opinions of them. I it's it goes without saying that like I love Black women. I, you know, fight for, stand beside, stand behind um everything and anything that they are and can be, which is everything. um and so I find that I find refuge in listening to
Yeah.
Black women because unfortunately the world isn't. And so it is very nice to have them carve out a niche or carve out a way of life that I get to uh, listen to and be a
Yeah.
part of in a way. Um, and then like obviously I'm trying to get my money up because I'm a Gemini and I fear being broke more than I fear being alone. Um,
Amen.
so I'm listening to, TED Talks and Motley Fool Money and
Oh, you listen to Motley Fool?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I listen to them quite often.
Yep.
Um, and I listen to, you know, just things that are going to help me uh hopefully in the long run
Sure.
financially. I also listen to a few therapy things, uh Black girl therapy. Um I also listen to This Changes Everything with Dr. Jeff, who is on a lot of the reels that we look at on Instagram.
Yeah.
Um, and they just kind of help me like with my mind. I also listen to Horoscope Today because
Ooh.
I remember there was a time where my parents got the paper,
Uh huh.
and every Sunday there were the horoscopes, and I would read my horoscope and be like, this ain't me or this is me.
Uh,
And so it really like, I don't know, it just helps me feel my oats a little bit when I can be like, yep, I'm certainly that Gemini girl today.
mm-hmm.
um, and also one of my friends is a part of that company. He doesn't do the podcast, but the company that the podcast is under, he works in.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
so it's kind of cool. And what else? Oh, there's one big shout out that I have to do. It's called Thai Talks. It is a chubby Black guy from the DC area, and he just talks about his experience dating and living as a Black, uh, feminized, chubby guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but he is. I found him on one of the dating sites that I was perusing, and we
Sure.
chatted, and he was like, oh, I have a podcast, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I would love to do a podcast. And he was like, you can do it. And so I started listening to his, and they were so short
Yeah.
and like, but they were fun, and it was something that I wanted to listen. I don't really listen anymore because
Fair.
I kind of just fell off. But he made me like okay with the idea that I will do a podcast.
Yeah.
And so shout out to him, Thai Talks. Um, it's super cute. But yeah.
Nice.
Are there any expired podcasts that you listen to? that you used to listen to?
Yeah, there are a few that no longer happen that I really miss and may or may not come back depending on what happens. Um, there's one called Borderline Salty,
Mhm.
and that's with Carla Music and Rick Martinez. They were both part of. Tim, you may remember this at the back end of us living together. I started religiously watching. Um, oh, what was that? Bon Appetit videos, Test
Yeah,
Kitchen stuff.
yeah.
Before they imploded and everybody left for very good reasons. But Rick and Carla come from that world, and
Okay.
so when they left Bon Appetit, um, I followed them to where they went, which was mostly YouTube vlogging.
Mhm.
But they started a podcast that was like 10 episodes long called Borderline Salty, where they talk about like um, nightmare stories from working in restaurants and what do I do to make something less salty? Like, they
Yeah.
like take in listener letters about cooking and stuff. And I've actually made a lot of their recipes. I love them both very much.
Oh,
So
nice.
they did like 10 episodes and then they stopped and it's kind of sitting there. So I hope that comes back. That'd be fun. Binge Mode. This is one of the Ringer Network podcasts that I listen to with Mallory Rubin and Jason Concepcion. Um, they did like they reread every Harry Potter book chapter by chapter, so that's its own like it's this volumized concept. So there's like the Harry Potter season.
Yeah.
There's the they did a Star Wars season, a Marvel season,
Mhm.
and so they just kind of broke it down into chunks like that, and it was really good. They both have really good perspectives on geek culture, and that's a lot of fun. But Jason went to another network, and so him and Mallory are no longer able to work together, which is kind of sad.
Oh,
So I miss that. My dad wrote a porno. Shout out to Al. He got me into My Dad Wrote a Porno, which is they
he is
just
a jack
wrapped
of all
up.
trades.
Yes. Um, Sorry, not my dad, but the dad in the anyway. So,
Shout out to Dad
oh
Slade.
my god, oh my god. Very funny podcast about a group of friends who discover that one of their dads is written pornos on Amazon, like
Mhm.
published written works of pornography. So they
Daddy gotta have a life too.
read it. They read it chapter by chapter, and it kind of took off and became a thing. And they just wrapped up last at the end of last year in 2022. Um, but yeah, so yeah, those are some of the expired ones I've been listening to. What about you? Any ones that you miss or have gone away?
Oh, I have quite a few.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start out with Tax Season. He
Ooh.
is I can't remember if he was like an old rapper that
Hmm.
like he just had this like deep raspy voice. He just sound like a dude on the corner
Uh
that
huh.
like isn't the like that you don't want to take by your daughters because they have some antiquated like bullshit that they like
Sure.
believe in. But it was something about like his podcast that just felt very familiar to me. It felt like the young deacon at church that
Hmm.
became a thug. I don't know, somehow. So he he actually went to jail in the middle of his podcast.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah, it it got real. Like I don't know, it was like Baby I'm a Thug. For some reason, I was really obsessed with it.
Okay.
Um, there was a so Issa Rae did this podcast that was like a story.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and it was talking about it felt very it I'm gonna say this, and I'm not gonna say that the artist or anything, but we all know what it is. It felt very trapped in the closet
Oh, okay.
without it being trapped in the closet.
Gotcha.
And it was very alluring, but they finished up and now it's not a thing.
Okay. So it was
Um
like a standalone story. They had
yeah,
yeah.
and it was so good. There are also a few others that have been out, but I just dropped off from those. But um also the Here For It podcast, it was
That sounds
a
familiar.
yeah, it was a black gay and DC podcast about
Hmm.
like they would talk about what's going on and also like sexual health because one of the dudes was a nurse and
Oh.
he was also very hot. But like they stopped theirs around the end of 2001. And I really missed him.
2001 or 2021?
Oh, 2021.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay, gotcha. No,
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
2021.
2021.
Shout out to Getting Grown. Uh, but uh, also the this didn't end at the first season, but I wish it had because they really went left with
Oh,
things. Colorful Lives, FULL.
mm,
Um, it was just like it had Angela Yee, it had one of my favorite people from the Friend Zone, Hey Friend Hey, and another person, maybe from Lip Service, I'm not sure. But they were just talking about being a black woman and trying to figure out how to get grown and do the shit that they wanted to do. And that was cool, but then it became something completely different
mm.
once like Hey Friend Hey left, and then they kind of revamped things and it just wasn't
Oh,
cool.
gotcha.
But my very favorite podcast, beyond even the read,
Oh, okay.
was a podcast called In Theory
Okay.
with Terry Theory. His take on life is so like familiar and funny and
Hmm.
also fresh, and it felt like Noah's Ark to me.
Mm.
Like it felt like something that needs to be in the world
Yeah.
but is no longer in the world. He even took it like you can't find it. He took it off
Oh, wow.
like the platforms and all. So like I can't even listen to old podcasts.
Oh,
And he's still on like social media. Please like bomb him. Like love bomb him.
love bomb.
Love bomb him. Tell him that we want that podcast back because it was so good. It was called In Theory. And he's just one of the first people that put shit in a way that just felt like understandable to me.
Yeah.
And I just adored him and still do. Shout out to him and his glow up. It's real. He looks real good on Instagram. Um,
Oh,
but the last one is one of my friends, Breezy Lee, had a podcast a few years ago. It was called Bars.
oh,
And
okay.
it was just good. It was a good podcast about any and everything that she wanted to talk about. And she would bring in like a guest or whatever, and she would just shoot the shit. It was so good. And I wish
Nice.
that she would bring it back. Um Chris, if you know that she wants if you know that she's listening, just make sure that she listens to this because we want it back.
Bring it back, please.
Yes.
Run it
What about
back.
but yeah, so those are my I don't know, expired, wish they would come back. And
Nice.
I also, sorry, I
Yeah.
want to shout out Surface Level,
Okay.
which is kind of my replacement for In Theory.
Hmm.
It's three black gay men who live in New York, um, and they're all friends, and they just talk about subjects that plague the black queer experience. It's
Gotcha.
very good. They have seasons, they go away. They went to Berlin, had a great time. They're shady to one another, but not in a way that like detracts from like the message. And it's so good. I love them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take one more break, and we'll be right back.
One more time.
Time, time,
Bye.
time, time. Ah! And we're back, everybody.
We back. We
We back.
back.
We
Yeah.
back. We back. We back.
Like titties on them.
It's titties. So, Tim, you got any shout outs this week?
I do. So we have our first email.
Yay! Thank
If
you.
you guys didn't know, we have an email. I don't know why you don't know by now,
That's right.
but we are coveandchub@gmail.com. Make sure you send something in. And fortunately for us, we got our first one, and it's I love Stephen. Let's bleep out the last name.
Okay, I'll bleep out. It's Steven.
It's Steven, one of our loves, one of our brothers. We adore
Yeah.
him. Uh, I am not a great reader, so we're gonna have Bear read the email.
Gotcha. So Steven writes and he says, I just realized y'all were the ones that introduced me to Vietnamese and Thai food.
Oh,
I first went to Mekong with Bear, and I'm pretty sure both of y'all were there for my first Thai experience at Sabai. Shout out to Sabai.
so bye.
Now I love both all the time. Love and miss y'all. Love, Steven.
Oh, we love you, Steven. I was there for your survive moment.
That's right. Me, you, him, and Kevin?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
basically were drunk and on that swing.
Me drunk in a swing? What are you talking about? This isn't Friday.
Whatever, it was actually a
It was a
Friday.
Friday. Definitely was a Friday. Definitely was a Friday,
It
babe.
was Friday. Yes.
Thank
But
you,
yeah, thank you
Steven.
so much, Steven. We love you so much.
Love you, brother.
Mwah.
I've got a shout out, Tim.
Oh, what's your shout out?
My shout out is to one Miss Tiana. Tiana is over at the local sports clips that I go to here in Richmond.
Oh, fancy.
I walked in and the person I normally see was not there that day.
Mhm.
So I had to put my hair in the trust of a new person, and she
Yeah.
did me right. And
Ooh.
love my new cut, and she was just awesome. We had a really good time. So Tiana, thank you for being yourself, and thank you for giving me my new lid. I really appreciate
Yes,
it.
Princess Tiana on that hair.
That's right. So
Yes.
thank you. I'll see you next time. Tim, what's making you live this week?
Well, this is gonna sound weird,
Hmm.
but so you know how I was saying when I was in Richmond last weekend that I just love seeing blackness to my left, to my right, feeling comforted in that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm back in the undisclosed location and not seeing that represented, but I am seeing uh black squirrels like everywhere.
Oh.
Like I saw them, the one like scurried across my feet as I was leaving the place that I was at, and it was just like I was like, where y'all coming from? In this alabaster place, you come through with the melanin, the the color of, noir, if you will.
Hmm.
And I just appreciate them. They made me feel a little bit more comfortable in this land where I also have seen quite well, maybe not quite a few, but I have seen a few flags that I was not appreciative of. So
Sure.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, thank you to the black squirrels out here doing the real work.
Nice.
Yeah, what are you living for?
I'm living for getting tickets to a meet and greet to see one Miss Anitra.
Yes, you
Yes.
better walk that fucking
Fuck
duck.
that duck, bitch. So I don't know what's going on at Fallout this year, but they have some agreement, and they have gotten almost every single queen to come through that establishment in the last
Now
2
you know
months.
exactly what's happening in Fallout.
Well, we know what's happening. Y'all can go to that website. I won't be doing that. But
Oop.
they had Lux there. They've had Jax was there a few weeks ago. Malaysia Baby Doll Fox was just there, I think, last week.
Mhm.
So they're bringing all the season 15 girls through there, and Anitra will be there the first week of April. And your
Yeah.
boy got a meet and greet ticket, so I'm very excited to go see Miss Anitra throw down.
Yes. So
Yeah.
basically, Fallout is a stop on the Underground Drag Railway.
Apparently, along with
Yeah.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Kink Nights.
Yeah.
Which happens occasionally.
Kinks of all kinds.
That's right.
Yes, Fallout. Shout out to you. I
Thank you,
hear you're a
Fallout.
fun time for those of you who love that.
So yeah, excited about doing that. So
Yes, tell Anisha I said hey.
hey Anitra, will do. Get a little photo. Maybe I'll wear my Cub and Chub shirt if I can
Yeah.
make sure I coordinate with that.
Technically,
Uh,
I'm wearing mine, but mine's on the back because, you know.
we have since fixed the t-shirt situation, everybody. If you want to get a shirt that prints on the front and not the back,
Yes,
it's
because
there
we want to
now.
be on your titties.
That's
As
right.
titties.
Back rolls are fine, but we love titties, so
You know
we get
what?
it.
Back rolls.
Back rolls. Oh my gosh. All right, Tim. How can everybody follow us on the Instagrams, on the TikToks, on the Facebooks?
On anywhere that your pornos could be found.
Ooh, your
Um,
leaked nudes.
yes.
Leaked.
On anywhere that you could be seeing Beyonce, you could see us.
That's right.
Uh, Blue Ivy's internet is full of Cub and Chub at this point.
Aw, lovely.
And we love it. And we hope that you uh seek us out, like Bear said, on TikTok and Instagram and um uh Chubby Universe
Oh.
and specifically me on Growler. Uh
And what's
yeah.
what's that handle, Tim?
What is my handle? I think it's just
What is our handle? Oh my god. Timothy.
it is at Cub and Chub.
At
It is
Cub and Chub.
CUBANDCHUB at Cub and Chub.
Do you
And don't
see?
forget our email at wearecubandchub at gmail.com.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody, we love you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Drink your water, mind your business. We love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Drink your water, mind your business.
You should.
Were you looking for your drag race content?
I didn't realize Selena STDs was so emotional.
Did you see?
Yeah.
Yeah. What you packing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just, like, she legit felt hurt.
The entire time. Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like she had been broken.
Yeah.
And like I hope that she knows that like your drag is so valid and it is a perspective that I've never seen and I loved it. I thought it was
Oh yeah.
I saw the vision for it.
Yeah, I think Rue made a comment that the aesthetic still needs work. And I remember
Yeah.
thinking, no, the
No, it
aesthetic is
doesn't.
there.
It is there.
She's giving something that maybe you don't want, and that's
Exactly.
fine. It's your show. But what she's doing is unique and it's ready.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's campy, it's over the top.
It is.
And it's her.
And I saw a TikTok where Monique or Mo Hart
Yeah.
was with her and did her makeup. And it just didn't look like her.
Oh
it
yeah.
didn't feel like her.
Right.
But I saw the reaction that she had and I was like, are you about to lose yourself?
Right.
Like
Trying to
for the appeasement of others. Like because there's a I don't know. I just wish that we understood that drag doesn't have to be one way. It doesn't have to be fish,
No.
and it doesn't have to be prim and proper. It's actually supposed to be the opposite of that. Like
No, it is rebellion.
it is.
It's punk. There is something very beautiful and wonderful about it becoming
Yeah.
so popular that it's accepted.
Mhm.
There is beauty in that, and I definitely don't want to trample on that part of it. But RuPaul's Drag Race is one aspect of this culture
Yeah.
that happens to be the most popular, most seen version of it. But it's been around much longer than that,
It
and
has.
there are many different types of queens that are ever going to be on that show
Yeah.
because they're that's not what that's for, right?
And there are people who have been on the show way before. Like I back into Nina Flowers. I would love for Nina Flowers to take hold of her
Oh
and like
yeah,
maybe see what that like side of things is.
sure.
Um or maybe it, just somebody who's not about the pretty of things.
Right. No.
Because it's like I'm not saying that Selena is not pretty. She's beautiful. She's gorgeous. But I don't think her I don't well from what I saw, what she gave, the aesthetic wasn't that you need to be pageant pretty.
No, pageant is one aspect of it. And
It
the
is.
idea that you would try to move people into that lane,
Yeah,
you don't want to be a pageant queen. You're
exactly.
not trying to be passable. Like that's not what that aesthetic she's going for is.
Yeah.
So can I tell you about the emotional roller coaster that this bitch took me on this weekend? And
Okay.
this is mostly because of her mother, but so so she gets kicked off on Friday,
Mhm.
right? And she told a story about how her look the week before was about her mother crossing the border,
Mhm.
and the judges hated it. And
Oh,
it's
and
like,
then she said her mother was fine, and then
so
she's
well,
actually
she
she just
passed.
died.
So
Yeah.
so and I forgot who said it. I think, oh, it was on
It
Squirrel
was
Friends. They
was
said,
it Squirrel Friends or was it
no, so on Squirrel Friends, they said her mother actually just passed recently. So that got
oh
recorded sooner than, because then I watched What You Packin', which
yeah.
was clearly recorded before that,
For
where
that, yeah.
where she said she was fine. So that was throwing me. And then I just watched the Queerty Awards where Bob and Monet won,
Yeah.
and Selena was there. This happened 2 days ago, and she's there in drag, smiling. She's like, "I'm one of the Rue girls now. I'm here. I'm having a good
Yeah.
time." She's selling, and so from Friday to today, my Selena STDs emotional like roller
Listen,
coaster.
I'm a nippler. I'm a nipple. Is that what she calls us?
Nipples, yeah,
Like
her
she's a
nipples.
nipple. We're the nipples. Like I just I hate crying. But like
There's beauty there. There's
there's
just
so
beauty.
much like there's strength
Yeah,
and there's a there's an aspect that needs to be shown that she's giving, that she
yeah,
gives, that I hope that she just continues to like shine with.
yeah, yeah,
And I hate I hate when people bang into people's head that you need to be a specific way.
yeah,
Because the truth is you don't have to be any motherfucking kind of way other than who you are.
yeah,
And it bothers me when I see queens who are brilliantly themselves get beat down. It it just
yeah,
makes me hurt. And that could be anybody. It could be, when I see people in the workplace who are amazing at their job get beat by people who are barely doing their job. Like
hmm,
it just bothers me. It
yeah.
it makes me irritated. And yeah. So
No, I think I take solace in the idea that so much of the stuff was filmed before the rest of the world saw this stuff.
yeah.
So I'm thinking like the most recent thing I saw her was the Queerities a couple days ago. She looks happy. She looks like herself, and she looks like she's having a good time.
Yeah.
So I'm taking solace in that. Like that's where she was a year ago when she recorded this
Yeah. I
season.
also hope that they bring her on sibling rivalry.
Oh yeah, no, she's
I want to hear her. I want to hear her on show.
she's such a unique character. She's
Because
doing
Monet
nothing
loves her. Yeah.
yeah. No, shout out to you, STDs. We love you, baby.